Good evening, everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to another round here at the Realistic Performance League here with Invictus Racing. We're here and live for round number 4 of the season at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas in the United States. What a fabulous circuit we'll be racing around shortly, 3.42 miles long. And it has got 20 corners that will certainly delight and thrill the drivers themselves, and hopefully the on-track action that we will see in just a few minutes' time. Hello to those that are commenting in the chat already. Good to have you here with Invictus for this evening. We're looking forward to some good racing. There's a lot going on in terms of the championship to talk about, but before we go into any of that, I just want to do a quick mention, of course, to our partners for this season. Of course, we have gridfinder.com, a great place for you to go and explore some new leagues and different races on different platforms that you can go and find. A very reputable and very strong website for you to go and look for some more action. And also to Venturi Studios for providing the graphics that we have been receiving so far this season. They can create those dreams that you've been looking for with their wonderful style and excellent attention to detail. But we are moments away from the sprint here around this fabulous circuit, opened 11 years ago now in 2012. A track that has certainly had dips in terms of its popularity and ascendancies as well. You can forget those famous victories for Kimi Raikkonen, his last ever Formula 1 victory, and some fabulous racing from everybody over the years. But we're going into the sprint event, and whilst that is loading up and the drivers are taking just a little bit of time to get themselves prepared with the setups that they need, let's just briefly cover the championship standings in the Realistic Performance League. Merck sits at the top of the pile currently. He's on 64 points. He's 3 points clear of Ryan LFC0307 on 61. Third is Cameron Searle, right there on 60 points. Then in fourth we've got Ginger Tiger on 51. SFR Martin is fifth on 41. And then in joint sixth we've got ARL and Atsu both on 35 points. So ARL and Atsu both racing tonight, which is good to see. In terms of the championship standings, well, at the present moment, we've got Acela leading the championship for the teams on 105 points. That's Merckx and SFR Martin leading the way. Merckx is definitely in, as is SFR. Where is he? There he is. He's just the last one to load in on your screen. In second place, you've got Bottom Gear. That's Cameron Searle and Owen. And then in third place is Fast Cats on 71. That is Ginger Tiger and Nitro Gas. Looks like a hazy afternoon that we're going to be having of racing here for the sprint. We'll get the reverse grid up shortly in terms of who will be starting in what position, but do comment below who you think is going to have a good race this evening, a good set of races. Hopefully everybody does. Certainly what we are aiming for. But the drivers have themselves a few minutes now just to get themselves prepared. Now, in terms of the race results from last week, you are looking at, it would have been Andres on pole position. I haven't seen if Andres is in for this evening. I haven't had the chance, unfortunately, to have a quick check on the sidebar. But I do know that ARL will be starting on the front row after he finished 10th last week in terms of at Barcelona, after that crazy finish in the last few laps of that late safety car that we had in that race. So whether we'll get any more late race drama remains to be seen. But if any league in Invictus can cause any carnage and any wonderful battling, it is certainly the one that you are all watching right now. Now, it is just me for this evening, by the way. I am Jack TM53 for those that have just joined. Unfortunately, Jordan isn't alongside me this evening, so I'll be doing all of the legwork myself. If you want to pick on him in the comments, feel free to do so. No, I'm only joking. Jordan has unfortunately got other commitments, but I am here able to bring this action to you, and I hope that we can get some great on-track racing. Lots of opportunities to overtake around here at COTA. Obviously, you're looking at the up the hill towards turn 1. You're looking not particularly through the S's, but maybe at turn 11 before you go on to that main back straight that leads towards turn 12. From turn 12 all the way to 15, there's a good chance for drivers to go side by side through there, and maybe if someone's feeling a little bit cheeky, they could potentially have a stab into the final corner at turn 20. 2 drag reduction system zones on this circuit, the main straight, and this is where we're at right now. It's the Williams on the left and the Red Bull on the right who'll get the best start. And the sprint is go. It's a great start for ARL's. So Spud was sleeping and he's already dropping backwards. So Spud actually had a jump for it. But that's a contact. That's a couple of cars in the wall. Merckx is out. The championship leader is out already. Phantom has picked up a time penalty, and I'm suspecting that that could potentially be a safety car. Let's just have a look. I think it's a VSC we have. No, there we go. The little dot has come up. It is a safety car after a start line crash. Cameron is involved. I think let's just see if he has any front wing damage. Yes, he does. The Alpha Tauri, that's a nightmare for him. Fortunately, he's got a safety car to sort that out. He got Phantom's got damage, and Sir Spud, so 4 cars. Sir Spud started second. He's 13th already. What a nightmare for the Red Bull driver. Just didn't seem to launch, and then he got a drive-through penalty, a jump start penalty for that. Oh, that is such a shame. Carnage already on the opening lap, or not even the first corner. But it does mean the drivers need to just set themselves to the designated speed that the safety car will demand them to drive around before they catch up to it. It's 40% typically slower around a lap to make sure you hit the absolute timings that safety recommendations are applied here from the FIA and from the race strategy. No race strategies for the sprint race. Typically mediums, hards. You could even go with the softs, which is what Ginger Tiger, Owen, Nitro Gash and SFR Martin have all gone for. So they're taking a bit of a different strategy to the drivers around them. But in any case, wow, take a little breath, everybody. That was a very energetic start. We weren't expecting contact before turn 1. Typically it's going through the corner, but the stewards will need to have a look at that and go into depth in terms of what decision is the correct one to make. Let's have a look at those drivers coming into the pits. There you go. You got Phantom coming in. Martin's obviously not involved in that, but Sir Spud was. He comes into the pit lane along with Phantom, along with Cameron as well. So those 3 drivers affected. And Merckx already out of this race. He's going to start from the back for the feature race. That is such a shame. Who knows who was directly at fault there. But again, this will be discussed amongst the drivers, and they'll have themselves a bit of time to get their heads straight under this safety car. We're not expecting it to be in at all this lap. It will probably be the next one, which would be most likely. But we will wait and see. But ARL is currently the man leading the race. Joe Hamster there in 2nd position. He'll be chuffed that he's up into the top 2 spots. You've got Ginger Tiger, Oaf Stephen up there in 4th place in the Red Bull for this evening. Ryan in 5th position. Don't forget, Ryan was leading the championship before Barcelona. This is a chance for him to score some points on his rival Merckx, who, don't forget, is out of this race already. Then it's Owen, then it's Atsu, and it's MDJ, who is now a permanent driver for this season. He's joined the team AGS for the rest of the season. His teammate in the AGS team is Ryan. Don't forget, for the sprint, the top 8 drivers typically score points. Lewis has just put a couple of comments in. In fact, a few people put comments in. Merckx has put a comment in saying, good start, being sarcastic, of course. It's frustrating to see that you're outmerked, but hopefully you'll have a better time of it in the feature race. But the Mercedes safety car, though, just leading them around turn 13, this double right-hander here. Or rather, turn 16, and Keza has now disconnected. That's really unfortunate. Keza was running in 9th place. Hopefully he gets the chance to rejoin, otherwise he'll have to wait until the feature race to get back in. It's the last thing that we want. We want everybody to be able to drive, of course. So ARL Keza has rejoined. That's great news. Really pleased that he's been able to get back in. Just having a quick scan through to see who, in terms of drivers, see which drivers, of course, are looking for their first real strong result. Now Phantom has disconnected. That's another driver. Phantom had a few issues last week as well in Spain, and he didn't get the chance to rejoin. He's definitely had some internet connection problems, so hopefully this time he has a little bit of better luck. But 2 disconnections and a safety car already in this opening stint of the race. We are, of course, expecting the safety car to peel in at the end of this lap, but Phantom needs to try and get himself back in. He is racing for Zach Speed. His teammate Atsu is also out on circuit. He's in the McLaren this evening. Is the Atsu, called him the Atsu then. He'll be chuffed with that. Well, Nitro Gash back in as well. He's missed a few rounds in the Ferrari. He's there in the top 10. He'll be open to make some progress on those soft tyres early on in the stint. See if he can get the opportunity to do that. We are missing a couple of drivers for this evening, unfortunately, but we are expecting them to be back in the coming weeks. And you've got the green flag confirmed there, so that is ARL. We're watching him weaving across the circuit, getting those tyres up to temperature as best as he can. Let's see if he can get a good start. We'll ride on board with Joe Hamster very shortly. So let's get that camera angle. You can see that striking pink and purple helmet of Joe Hamster. But can he make sure he gets a good enough launch to stick with the Williams out of the final corner? You can see ARL still weaving those tyres as much as he can. He's trying to get himself into the best position. Left, right. You would expect him to go at the final corner. He's not gone yet. Now he's lined it up. Now he goes just before the final corner. Well done to ARL. That was a good restart. He's not going to be under any pressure from Joe Hamster behind. So it's ARL across the line. Tell you who is under pressure. It's Ginger Tiger from O'Stephen, who got a great exit. O'Stephen on the inside in the Red Bull. He brakes a little bit earlier. And Ginger Tiger just using the extra grip on those softs to get away. And O'Stephen now under threat from the Alpine behind. You can see he's right underneath the rear wing of that Red Bull. Ryan wanting to try and make as much progress as he can. He's got Owen there with him as well. Owen was going to be very quick in these opening laps. Just got a little bit too close to the rear of the Alpine in front of him, and he just drifted a bit wide through that turn number 8 there. You've got Atsu, you've got MDJ looking to put the pressure on Atsu. He looks to the inside at turn 11, keeps his nose there. Atsu gives him the racing room. Oh, little slide from MDJ, and that's going to cost them the place. Keza now looking to try and take advantage of that sort of driver error, but MDJ's going to have the DR, well, not the DRS, it's going to have the slipstream. They're going to go 3 wide down the main straight. MDJ's going to be on the outside line as they go into turn number 12. Good racing between the two, and Keza 2 for the price of 1, but MDJ, in fair play to him, isn't giving up the position. They're still side by side through turn 14. Great action, number 99 on the inside of Keza. They're still going to be side by side. This is great racing, and that is MDJ in front of Keza. Great racecraft between the two. The Alfa Romeo stays in front, but how long can he stay there for? Atsu would have been watching all of that, feeling a little bit frustrated that he wasn't involved, although he does run a little bit deep into the final corner. Keza runs wide on the AstroTurf, but ARL leads. He's got pressure from Joe behind, and Joe will certainly want to be putting a little sprint victory on his resume in IRL. He definitely wants to do that. He's going to be less than 3 tenths behind coming into the very fast section 1, influenced of course by Maggott and Beckett's complex at Silverstone. Halep and Tilke using those corners as inspiration. Ginger Tiger isn't too far away, and those soft tyres will work very nicely as Owen gets himself past O'Stephen, and looks like MDJ is going to do the same. Ryan's already gone past the Red Bull. O'Stephen will want to try and get some good points if he can. He's in the quickest car in the game. A little nudge from MDJ into the back of O'Stephen. He stays behind the Red Bull. That is completely fair. That's a change for the race lead. And that is Joe into first place. The Williams looking to fight back. MDJ goes past in the background as well for 6th position. O'Stephen trying to go back up the inside. Great move from O'Stephen. And he gets himself back in front. There's so much action all over the circuit. But Joe leads. MDJ on the outside of the Red Bull. Couldn't quite make it stick. O'Stephen covers that off, but he goes very, very wide. On the inside is MDJ, but O'Stephen should in theory have the traction. And he does go back through. Kez is there now on the inside. Contact between the two. They just about make it through. Definitely don't want to see those two spinning off. That'd be a disaster, but they keep it just in a straight line. That's the key thing. MDJ swinging to the inside of O'Stephen, who's creating just a little bit of a bottle gap, you feel. A little bit of a wiggle on the exit. And MDJ darts to the inside as they approach turn 1. Kez is there. We're going to watch it from Kez's perspective. Look at MDJ just weaving a little bit, trying to dominate the space around him, and he goes through. That's a good move. He gets past O'Stephen, left O'Stephen with no choice but to let him through. Here comes Keza trying to do the same. That was very close between the two. Oh, and O'Stephen gets that line all wrong. That's who gives him a wide berth, trying to go around the outside on the inside now for turn number 7. That is Cameron on the going through in the Alpha Tower, using those soft tyres to good effect early on. He's up to 9th. That's a great start for him. But Cameron just taking advantage of that carnage around him, and Simon Palmer's up the inside as well. And he's got past Atsu. They're both going to have DRS as Ryan goes past Ginger Tiger for 3rd place with DRS. Just watching to see this fight in front of us. Look at the slipstream and the power of the DRS that Simon Palmer has. But he has another car on his inside. They're 3 wide into turn 12. We've just about kept on top of it. Simon's on the inside of Nitro Gash. A little bit of wheel banging between the two as they go through turn 13, but they just about survive. Martin's on the outside now. Just can't find a way through. But that, for the time being, has just split the groups up a little bit. MDJ, the first of those drivers in that group to get past O'Stephen, who drops another place to Simon now. He's 1.1 behind Ginger Tiger. Owen has also got past Ginger Tiger. And look at Ryan, who's got some speed this evening. He's on the outside of the Williams of ARL. He defends to the inside, does ARL. Good exit, though, from the Alpine. And he limits the amount of room that ARL had stopping the speed that he could have taken through that turn number 2. And Ryan cements 2nd place. 3 laps after this one. It's been unbelievably frenetic so far. This is great racing. SFR Martin's dropped a few places as we say that. But Owen, there's not much that ARL can do. And sure enough, ARL just holds the inside line. But I think he's going to try and take DRS. Let's see that rear wing, whether it pops open or not. It does, but Owen also had DRS as well. So mitigates any big effect that it would have had. But Owen looking very quick here already this evening. On the back now of Ryan LFC. Oh, a little wiggle from the Williams. Those soft tyres. They should be able to last the end of the race with no problem. But Ryan won't want to give this up. Ryan's got a championship to fight for, as has Owen for that matter. Owen, don't forget, part of that blockbuster finish back in round 1 at Monza with his teammate Cameron. He'll want to add another race win. That's MDJ. What has happened to the Alfa Romeo? He's facing the wrong way. Well, he was facing the wrong way. He's not anymore. But fortunately, MDJ has gone backwards. That's a nightmare. So the Alfa Romeo slips down to 13th place. Let's have a look. That's Keza going past Ginger Tiger. So Ginger just not finding the speed from the Haas this evening. He's going to just have to hope that he can hang on to some points in the sprint. That's exactly what he'll want more than anything else. Got Cameron there in 7th place. You can see how quick these drivers are through these through these corners in this sector. But so far, so good. There's a yellow flag out there. That looks like the other Alfa Romeo. It is the other Alfa Romeo. It is MDJ, unfortunately. So another moment for him. He's going to have to dust himself off for the next race. Let's have a look and cut back to where the action is in 6th place between Ginger Tiger and Cameron Searle. Cameron in that AlphaTauri trying to go up the inside. That looks like a good move. MDJ is out of the race, sadly. Ginger Tiger, though, still on the inside of Cameron, but he had a little wobble. And that wobble was enough for Cameron to breeze on past him. There's a big fight going on for 4th place here. Owen's still within DRS range of Ryan for 2nd, but hasn't made the inroads I'd expect. Here comes Keza, using the Mercedes on the outside at the penultimate corner. I've never seen anyone go through there, and sure enough, you didn't. Keza has to let that one back through, surely. Overtook off circuit, but ARL isn't going to want to give that up, and it's just allowed Cameron to get right in the mix. He's going to have the inside line. He's fighting hard, using all of his battery, the energy recovery system, and he goes through up to 5th. Cameron just has no issue driving that AlphaTauri. He's so fast. And he's carving his way through the field once again, and he, in particular, using those soft tyres to great effect. But he's got to want to get past Keza. Whether he'll get any higher than that is another matter. Keza is 2 seconds behind the final spot on the podium, which is Owen currently. Let's have a look. We'll ride on board with the AlphaTauri once again. You've got Keza directly in front of the Mercedes. This is currently the closest fight on circuit. Now Cameron has the DRS wide open. Look at the closing speed from the car. Keza is going to be a little bit powerless to resist down the straight, but they break together into turn 12. He's on the inside line and he goes through. Cameron up to 4th. That's a good tidy move. Cameron looking to try and wrestle control of the championship. He wants that championship lead back that he had earlier on. Or rather, his championship team had earlier on, bottom gear. Himself and Owen looking for some strong results this evening. But we are on the penultimate lap here in Texas of America. Ooh, Keza just getting that a little bit wrong out of turn 19. Not ideal. But so far, everything is okay. No penalties outside of Keza's own penalty and to Spud. You expect that to be a bit more of a feature later on. But here we are on the final lap, and Joe Hamster has got himself a 2-second lead over Ryan in the Alpine. You got Owen there in 3rd, still shadowing him, but you feel, unless he's got a bucket load of ERS available, it's going to be very hard for him to get past Ryan now. Will no doubt doggedly defend that 2nd place. He'll take the championship lead back, would Ryan, if he finishes there. It's a yellow flag again. That's a Ferrari. That's nitro gas she's gone round. That's a good exit for Owen using those soft tyres. Let's see if he closes the gap. He is closing the gap. Look at Ryan trying to weave, trying to break the toe. He can't move again. Owen looking, but he's not quite close enough. He's going to have to try and force the issue. Ooh, he runs a little bit too deep though. Keza wasn't quite close enough to shape a move either on Cameron Searle. But this has been an excellent sprint race. This is a wonderful taster for what is to come in a few moments' time for the feature race. But let's put a moment for him to have a shine in the sun. Joe Hamster's got 2 corners to go. Navigates that one nicely. He's just got this last one to tiptoe through. It's been a masterclass from Joe Hamster since he got in the lead. And he wins the sprint here at COTA. Great results. Ryan 2nd, Owen 3rd to round out your podium. Keza is going to finish in 7th thanks to his penalty, so ARL and Ginger Tiger get that spot. Then it's Simon Palmer in 8th place, his return after missing Spain. Martin in 9th, Atsu rounding out the top 10. You have O'Stephen in 11th, Nitrogash eventually licking his wounds across the line in 12th. Phantom involved in that earlier collision at the start of the race. He's not really recovered, unfortunately. Maybe there was another incident out on track. He ends up 13th, and so Spud will be the last race finisher in 14th position. Well, there was a lot of action going on, but that comment from Lewis, who is in the YouTube comments live currently, says, "Don't choke, Joe. Good news, friend. He's not done that at all. Cameron gets the in-game driver of the day for the sprint race, and I'm sure that Joe will be delighted with that." There's a confirmation of the results. Let's get the timings on the board there so that you can see. Joe wins it with Ryan in second place, retaking that championship lead. Owen is third with Cameron in fourth place, and rounding out the top five you have ARL. Sixth place went the way of Ginger Tiger with Keza seventh and Simon Palmer in eighth place. The top eight all covered by less than 10 seconds. Just shows you how competitive this realistic performance league is, and the lap times even there on the screen that you can see, 1:37s. Cameron just playing in a different world. It seems that he's well dialed in to COTA. Any other driver in the 36 was everybody's dreams. Well, that is the sprint race. Great race to watch, great race to commentate on. So we have the feature coming up now. Looks like it's going to be, in terms of conditions, looking like they're going to be dry so far, but looks like a little bit hazy potentially. So whether there's going to be any wet weather, we'll never know until it actually does arrive. The drivers again giving themselves a little bit of a breather, see what they did wrong, see what they can improve on, and how they need to approach this race. Obviously the sprint is always very frantic. But we'll wait to see. If that does occur, I'm sure that there'll be a couple of drivers jockeying for position, and one driver, of course, to watch out for, the man who's won the last two main feature race events, which is Merckx. He won in Spain last time out. He won the week before as well in Jeddah, and he's starting from last place, so watch out for him as he tries to work his way through the field. He'll have his teammate SFR Martin a couple of spots in front of him. No doubt you'll see some potential team orders there to try and get Merckx high up through the field as quickly as possible. But Cameron is looking incredibly fast at the moment. Of course, Cameron, don't forget, he finished second last week at the main race in Barcelona after that late safety car drama. Didn't get the best of sprint results, did Cameron, that day, but he's in a good position now. The fans going wild, even though there's no actual on-track action. You can see them all up above the DHL board. Look at them. That shows you just how exciting Invictus Racing League is going to be in a few moments' time. A couple of them wearing the same shirt as well. They clearly didn't coordinate their outfits when they left the house that morning. But COTA, a great circuit, as I said earlier before the racing got underway. Fastest. Apologies for the technical difficulties there. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Yeah, okay, there we go. Just making sure that I could hear, that you all could hear. But It does happen sometimes, unfortunately, with my microphone. But in any case, fastest lap around here, Charles Leclerc, 2019. It was 1:36. We saw Cameron do that in the AlphaTauri. Whether he can go any quicker, we'll soon see. Lewis Hamilton, of course, the most race wins around COTA, 5, including that brilliant overtake that he made on Sebastian Vettel in 2012 when the race first opened, using the back marker of Narain Carter-K in that day to just close the gap up and then blasted past the Red Bull with DRS that day. But we are still waiting for the action to kick off. So there we go. The 5 lights are coming up. You've got the McLaren on the left, the Alpine on the right. Who will make the best getaway? And the race is live from America. It's a great start from the second row from Cameron Searle. He's trying to look to the inside line going into turn 1. Joe will lead them through. He gives a little bit of room. That's contact between Owen. A little bit of side-by-side action. He's managed to straighten the car up, but he'll have lost a little bit of ground. Joe leads. Owen second. Keza trying to go round Cameron there side by side through the S's. That's great racecraft. They keep it nice and clean. Let's get the details up as quickly as we can so you can all see there is the strategies, the soft or the medium starters. We've got no soft tyre runners. It's mediums or hards at this opening lap. But Joe has the lead. Cameron already putting the pressure on the Williams in front of him. Cameron looking in a racy mood, and Owen's gone a little bit deeper. Those hard tyres aren't fired up to temperature yet, and Cameron goes into second place. And you can see Owen weaving, trying to get the temperature back into the tyres. Keza's looking very quick. Owen to the inside of the AlphaTauri, but he doesn't brake later. Whoa, Keza nearly got that wrong. Ryan using that opportunity, maybe. Not quite. Has to slot in behind. Ryan on the hards, as is ARL behind him. Oh, and Owen gets through on Keza, back up the inside. He runs on very deep on the exit of turn 15. Keza's going to try and go all the way around the outside of the double apex here at 17 and 18. That's a great overtake from Keza. He moves into third. And look at the gap that Cameron and Joe already have on Keza. That's 1.3. That's all that fighting already on this opening lap. But Joe leads him across the line. Cameron is half a second behind. Then it's Keza. Then it's Owen. Ryan right there. Ryan looking racy already on those hard tyres. Then it's Ginger Tiger and ARL into turn 1. Good. Again, great racing between the two. They're keeping this nice and clean. And Ginger Tiger is just about going to get in front of the Williams. Those hard tyres just proving to be quite difficult to get up to temperature. Look at this performance, though, from the man we're riding on board with. Mercked in 8th place. He started 16th. What a start. Up 8 places. He's looking for another place on the inside of ARL. He should be able to get a little bit late at braking. He's got the best line into the corner, and that is the AlphaTauri up another spot. Mercked up 9 places already in this opening 2 laps. That's an unbelievable position to be in already. ARL under a threat now from SFR Martin. Martin trying to follow his teammate. If you look at Mercked going again, he's going up the inside of Ginger Tiger. He's up to 6th. Mercked is absolutely flying. Would you believe the performance this man is currently showing? How quickly can he get up to the next group? SFR Martin trying to look at a move on the inside of Ginger Tiger. Too much contact between the two, and that'll go to the stewards. But Nitro Gash is on the inside of ARL for 8th place. Runs him out of road. Nitro goes through. Simon Palmer making the most of that. He's up to 7th place. And Keza picks up a time penalty already in these opening stages, so not ideal. DRS now available on this lap. It's the 3rd lap of the race. One of the Red Bulls going wide. I think that's Stephen who went a little bit deep there. But what a start we've had. And Cameron in the lead of this race. Joe there in 2nd position. Those two swapping places just then. And Joe, for the sake of his race, what he'll want to try and do is try and keep within the drag reduction system 1 second range of where Cameron is right now. If he can do that, Might not be able to fight Cameron, but he definitely can try and keep up with him if he gets close enough. The DRS line is here. He's within that time. Keza, crucially, is out of that. So hopefully Joe can try and pull away a little bit. You got Owen there. Then you got Merckx, Ryan. Owen and Ryan having a great opening couple of laps. They've got those tyres fired up quickly, and they're keeping pace with the medium runners. Watch out for them later when they've got the medium tyre compound on. They're going to be very quick at the end of this race. Simon Palmer in 7th. He's got himself away from all the chaos behind him. Nitrogash has got SFR Martin and ARL fighting side by side. ARL just struggling to get those tyres working at the moment. That's on the inside. There's ARL. Can he try and stay there? He's still right alongside the Alfa Romeo. And there's a wheel banging together. That always happens at turn number 15. The cars come together and Martin is up into 9th place. Owen has lost ground. I'm not quite certain what happened to Owen. I did see his nameplate tumble down 2 spots, but Ryan is up to 4th and Merckx is up to 5th. And if we have a look at the gaps, Merckx only 4.5 seconds off the race leader. This is a great drive. He's on the inside. He's through on Ryan. That AlphaTauri, both AlphaTauris are looking very ominous at the moment, but Merckx, a very angry man, no doubt, after his DNF in the sprint. Now, Ryan's strategy is going to be to try and stick with Merckx for as long as he can. As you can all see, both drivers on different tyres at the moment. So Ryan just has to try and keep hold of that DRS, maybe for a lap at least, if he can make that work. But so far, it's been a great race, really fun to watch. Joe's still keeping up with Cameron, doing more than keeping up with him. He's going up the inside, and credit where it's due from Joe Hamster. He's back into the lead of the race. Great drive. Really positive to see Joe right up there fighting for the race victory. He's got a sprint. He wants to consolidate that with another win. Whether he can, we'll soon see. Same for everybody else on the circuit. Ryan crucially has stuck with it. That's Simon Palmer on the inside of Owen. Simon looking very quick in these opening laps. He seemed to get a little bit stunted, but Owen goes straight the way back through. Just as I was praising Simon, he gets re-overtaken. But seems to be showing his racecraft a little bit more in this event. Is Simon? I think he got sort of stifled a little bit in the sprint. Couldn't show us what his performance was like. Nitrogash right there as well. And there's Simon on the inside, approaching turn 1. Ooh, a little bit of a weave from Owen in the braking zone. That could have been a mother and a father of a shunt if they'd have connected. Could have been lag, to be honest. But Simon back into 6th, right past Owen in 7th. Then it's Nitro. Martin there with MDJ, who's also trying to recover after his DNF in the sprint race. Lap 5 of this race already. There's ARL. Just trying to get some performance out of that Williams. And it's Phantom, Atsu, the 2 Red Bulls of O'Stephen and Sir Spud, and Ginger Tiger right the way back down in 16th place. Had a good feature sprint race before. Not this time around. Meanwhile, in the battle for the race lead, that's Cameron flashing past on the right-hand side, and he's back into the lead. So these two working together, it seems, to try and pull away a little bit from Keza. They want to try and not fight too hard. Both of them will have solid racecraft. They'll both know they have a race in mind to try and work together to pull away from the cars behind them. Merckx up into 4th. Ryan in 5th. Owen, there's a big fight going on. Nitro now up to 7th place. That's Martin going past Simon Palmer. But Palmer fighting back on the inside. And he goes through MDJ. Oh, Martin takes a very peculiar line around turn 18. Drops a spot there. Ooh, that's Simon Palmer. Just about rejoining the track safely. There's a huge, ferocious fight going on here for the fight in 7th through to what would probably be 10th place at the moment. Here we go again. MTJ on the inside of Simon Palmer. And that is a move swapped again. ARL and Phantom fighting as well. I think Phantom went a little bit too deep there in the corner. Simon trying to hold that line, can definitely not get 2 cars through there without having a car crash. You can see just a quick look at the fastest lap at the moment. Cameron leading that. Merckx also in the 37s in this early stage. 3-second time penalty only for Keza. That was picked up on lap 2, don't forget. Just look at these position changes though. MDJ up 7 places, Nitro up 5. But the man I've been talking about, Merckx, up 12 as Joe Hamster retakes the lead using DRS. Keza up 4 as well. Merckx up 12, leading the tally so far. And Merckx on the back of Keza. So this could be a very fruitful fight for Merckx. And then the question becomes, can he catch up to the front 2? Keza's very close to DRS, to be fair. And there's a little bit gap back to Ryan. He isn't too far away. And this is important. Ryan is only 4 seconds behind the race leader. He's not out of this race, nor is Owen. This can all come back together as we hit the quarter mark of the race. And that is Merckx getting past Keza. And that is SFR Martin into the pit. So that's an early stop for the Alfa Romeo. I just want to see if he's got any damage or anything as he comes into the pits. I just want a brief check. Front wing change. There we go. So Martin had broken front wing, a new set of softs. Let's see if he can make a 2-stopper work. We'll find out. But it's Joe leading the way. And the top 4 are all within DRS. So Joe and Cameron had a little battle in the final sector before, unseen by us on circuit, but I was watching the time gaps, and Cameron will now have to think about the cars behind him. And don't forget, Cameron and Merckx, both in Tier 1, I believe. They'll know how each other race, and they won't want to let each other back through. Cameron not quite close enough to Joe on this time around, so they're not swapping places. Merckx will want to try and get through. Keza will want to try and get through. But they all have to be conscious of those 2 hard tyre drivers behind them, Ryan and Owen. The more they fight and the closer they get, it just opens up more opportunities for the pair of them to get through. We did see in some of the races from Tiers 1 through to 4 this week that a one-stop predominantly works around here. It just depends on how long you can keep the medium tyres lasting for if you start on them. They do tend to wear a lot quicker with the heavier fuel loads. Keza just briefly dropping out of DRS. He really needs to try and get back into that if he can, otherwise he'll lose touch with these 3. We're all line astern into turn 1. Atsu pits now. Atsu on the medium tyres. I'm just going to, again, just want a quick check to see if that's a front wing change. Yes, it is. So that's another front wing gone. And that's a safety car. And that is Nitro Gash off the circuit. No front wing. Nitro Gash in the wall. Not sure how he's ended up there on the exit of turn 1, whether there was contact or if he spun up the rears. But a safety car. Now, for those who are running the medium tyres, this is perfect for them. They can take the hard tyre all the way to the end of the race. The mediums, though, that is a bit more of a question mark as to whether they can last the rest of the race distance. Things have just got very, very interesting. And if your name is SFR Martin or Atsu, you'll be very pleased with that result, because that'll bring you guys right back into the race. Whew. This has been wonderful to watch so far. It's been a great race, a lot of intrigue, and this, another safety car. Another safety car, as in from the last few races, there was a safety car every round. But this seems to have been for a very bizarre shunt for Nitro Gash. Again, we're not going to assume whether it was Nitro that crashed himself or whether he had assistance from another car. We don't know. Now, will Joe Hamster pit? He does. Right at the last minute. He feigned to the left a little bit later. Merckx stays out. Joe in a pit. Cameron, Keza, Ryan, Owen. They're all deciding they're going to try it anyway. MDJ. Oh, that was very, very close between Owen and MDJ. Simon Palmer, ARL in. Phantom stays out. Couple of other drivers. Stephen stays out. So Stephen trying to do what he did back earlier on in the season at Jeddah. It worked for him that day, and it has promoted him right up the field. Let's hope it doesn't end in a similar vein in the way that it did at Jeddah for him. Joe Hamster has re-emerged on the hard compound. Cameron there as well. Keza. Ryan's going to have to take those medium tyres at least 17 laps. In theory, the safety car will either come in the next lap or lap 11. So wait and see. So Spud there in 8th place. He has not pitted yet, but he'll be happy with the fact that he's got another opportunity to fight with the pack. Owen's gone for the soft tyres, so a couple of drivers deciding they're going to two-stop. Of course, Owen being one that's done that as a result of the safety car, and Martin deciding he's going to go for it on effectively one-lap race run tyres. He's done 2 laps of them, but the other lap was done under safety car. Simon's got another set of hard tyres on. Ginger Tiger. Nitro's got a new front wing as well. So let's see if these strategies will work out. You've got Merckx, you've got Phantom, and you've got O'Steven staying out, not pitting, along with Sir Spud, deciding to try and do something different. You've got the rest of the runners pretty much in the top 6 of Joe, Cameron and Keza going for the hards. Ryan's going to try and make those medium tyres last to the end of the race. Simon Palmer's picked up a time penalty under safety car for exceeding track limits. Owen will have to keep an eye on. You would expect Owen to be in and around lap 19, maybe lap 20. And then he can do another stint. I believe that is Martin going into the pits, so he must have heard me. Again, if you're watching, please do like the video if you can. It really helps us in terms of promoting our growth here on YouTube with Invictus Racing League. Really means a lot to us, and to me especially as well, that you're enjoying the content. If you're just tuning in, you are watching round 4 of the Realistic Performance League. We're under safety car conditions thanks to a broken front wing for Nitro Gas. He's carried on. Fortunately, he's got a new front wing on. And he's resumed the race. And also a very quick thank you to our partners for this evening, gridfinder.com and Venturi Studio, for providing those wonderful graphics that they create for our thumbnails and other media that we use here in Invictus Racing League. They certainly capture the dreams and realities that we're looking for here in our community. And also to Gridfinder, once again, allowing us to host on their great platform where you can go and find thousands of leagues across different racing communities that you can go and find. But as I've always said, why would you want to go anywhere else if you're watching us here right now with Invictus? It's a great place to be. A great future ahead for the championship, and this race right now is a great future remaining over the next 18 laps. If you are watching, please do comment who you think's going to be in the best position, who you think's going to win the race potentially. A safety car is in this lap, so Merckx becomes the effective safety car, and he gets to back them all up. I do apologise for any background noise. Got to stay hydrated in hot weather such as this, and the hot weather out on circuit as well. Safety car is just coming through the penultimate corner, so Spud has got a 5-second time penalty. That's a bit clumsy. Under safety car. And safety car now going into the pit, so it's all down to Merckx as to when he decides to go. He's really back in the pack up. He's gone. He's gone. That is a great restart. He caught Phantom asleep, And Phantom is going to take a couple of corners to get those tyres warmed up, and Merckx is using that medium compound. He's already over a second clear as they cross the start-finish line for the lap 11. Merckx is over a second clear of Phantom. O'Stephen, Joe Hamster is trying to get past O'Stephen, and as is Cameron trying to go through. They're going to go 3 wide. That's not going to work into turn 1. A little bit of contact between O'Stephen and Joe Hamster. Kez is going to mug the lot of them, and O'Stephen causes maybe some contact in the background. That's very difficult to see. Ryan goes through. He uses those medium tyres and he gets past. So Keza and Ryan, big winners in that little fight. Cameron and Joe losing out there. Owen in 7th place. I think O'Stephen, whether he caused contact with the car behind is very unknowing. I didn't quite catch the camera angle. But in any case, there was contact between him and another car, and that's MDJ going through. Although O'Stephen doing everything he can to try and hold on, but he, alas, cannot. Look at Merckx go. He's 2.3 clear. Keza trying to get a move on. Ryan also in a hurry. So Merckx is already clear. Keza and Ryan on the inside into turn 12. Leave a bit of racing room for one another. Ryan's going to try and use those medium tyres to go around the outside, but he can't quite get the grip. Can he do the switchback? Can he get underneath the Mercedes? He's on the outside. Will he go to the left? He does. He darts inside. Keza leaving absolutely no room whatsoever, and Keza picks up another time penalty. Can Ryan go round the outside? Oh, that's unbelievable racing between the two, and Ryan's into second place. Great fighting. What a battle. What an absolutely brilliant battle. Owen's up to 4th. Owen's using those soft tyres and saying, see you later, everyone, I'm off. Don't forget, he's got 2 compound steps softer than the drivers around him. He's going to be so quick compared to Cameron. Phantom up to 6th place. Great restart for him. He was nowhere earlier on, but the Aston Martin into 6th place, make that 7th, because Joe is going to be very frustrated with what's gone on. He was fighting for the lead, and he's fighting for 6th place at the minute. Keza has already made sure he's going to stay to the back of Ryan, but Merckx is being reeled in those 11-lap-old mediums as Keza picks up another time penalty. Keza is going to fall down by the wayside if we have a late safety car. But Ryan, on those 3-lap-old mediums, closing in on Merckx with those 11-lap-old medium compound tyre. Don't forget, DRS not available yet, but that's not stopping MDJ from going past Phantom for 7th position. Phantom's time in the top 6 seems to have come to a close for the time being. Moves in the background, O'Stephen and Atsu fighting for 13th place. Atsu's had a little bit of a more of an anonymous race this evening in the McLaren. He finished 4th and 5th and 4th respectively for the sprint and feature last week as ARL goes into 8th position. But that's the whole point of the Realistic Performance League for everybody who's watching. That's what it does. It creates lots of action. Everybody is assigned different cars week in, week out. And that creates all the drivers' chances to maybe get results perhaps where they wouldn't typically be able to, and the chance for the Tier 4 drivers to fight with the Tier 1s as Owen looks to the outside of Keza. Tries to go all the way around the outside. Those soft tyres working excellently. All fired up and through goes the Williams into 3rd place. And watch that car pull away in the corners. Look how quick this will be. Owen just getting the corners lined up nicely. And then the traction zone out of turn number 8 and 9. There you go. Look at the gap already. Over 6/10. Huge wiggle for Keza. Cameron's going to go past. For 4th place, it's going to be very close as to who got DRS there. The fight at the front is also very, very close together. Ryan, DRS wide open. Merckx, not much. I don't think he's going to be able to do about it. He's got to pit, don't forget, as Merckx. And that is Ryan up into the lead of the race. And Ryan will try and pull away. He's got to hope that Owen takes a little bit longer getting past the AlphaTauri. Don't forget, Owen also will have to pit unless he can somehow do a 19-lap stint on the softs, which would be incredibly impressive. Cameron right there, though. He's looking at those cars in front and trying to stay within DRS. That is vital at this early stage, because look at the gap between MDJ and ARL. 2.3. That's going to be hard for the Williams to catch up that gap, but he is on the softer tyre. Maybe he has a chance to do that. Here comes Owen. On the outside, leaves it to the last minute. He jinks to the outside and goes past Merck for second place. Ryan won't be thrilled about that, but Ryan's race right now is not with Owen. You never know, though. Owen might come back at this later on. Look at the speed of that. Look at the speed that the soft tyres have through Sector 1. Ryan was 6/10 clear going into that sweeping, big wiggle from Owen, left, right, and he took a good few tenths out of him there. And Merck now is almost looking like a sitting duck. He's got Cameron there in 4th place behind him. Is Owen going to be close enough for the lead of this race? Don't forget that Williams is very quick in a straight line. Here comes the Williams for the race lead. Breezes on through, brakes a little bit later, and Merck will do the same to Cameron. That was an important move for both drivers, for Cameron and Owen. 1st and 3rd now for those two. Joe Hamster trying to find a way past Keza, as is MDJ. So the top 7 all very close together. There's lots of fights elsewhere outside the top 10. Got Phantom and Atsu and SFR Martin together. 2 Red Bulls currently occupying the last 2 spots of the field. So Stephen and Spud just having a difficult race, it seems. Now Ryan, it'll be vital for Ryan to try and stay within DRS of Owen. He doesn't want to fight too hard. He wants to use that drag reduction system to just give himself a bit of a buffer. Here comes MDJ diving later than anybody out of those 3 into turn 1. Keza, though, has the traction, and I think MDJ slowed down there. I think there might have been a little bit of contact. So they swap places, and MDJ remains in 7th place. But as I was saying, Ryan will want to stay within DRS of Owen for as long as he can, and try not to use up his tyres. But Cameron, really right there. Excuse me. Cameron right there. But Ryan is still within DRS of Owen, and that's what he needs to do. He might try and look for a move up the inside at turn 12. He is going to do that. He's going to try and brake a little bit later, and he goes through. Owen smart enough not to fight that one just yet. He's going to look to the outside of turn 13. Oh, this is good side-by-side action. Cameron trying to get involved as well. Let's watch it from his perspective as Owen gets the tail snapped over the Astro curbs. I say Astro and curbs in one word there. And Merck's keeping up. I mean, this is great for Merck. The longer he could stay there, the later he needs to pit for those soft tyres. How much time he can gain, though, back on the soft tyres is another matter. You have to hope for a little bit of safety car assistance, potentially. But we go on to lap 16. Just past the halfway mark. Owen just putting himself in the wing mirrors of the Williams as Cameron locks the rear tyres. And the other thing is that these 3 are fighting really hard. Joe now up to 5th place. Joe knows that he needs, if he wants any chance of winning this race, he can't afford to keep fighting with MDJ and Keza. They have to try and work together. They're all on the same strategy. They can't keep fighting because they won't catch the cars in front unless they really do fight hard. But this is a fascinating scenario to be in for everyone. Really, really great racing as Martin picks up a time penalty. So Owen, much closer this time around. They should get the move done early. I don't know if Ryan's going to be vulnerable to Cameron here. You can see that gap closing right down, but not down enough. As MDJ gets past Joe Hamster for 5th place. That gap almost less than a second now. And how long can Owen keep these soft tyres going for? Because the longer it goes on for, the more opportunities that this group, the front 4, becomes a front 7. It's going to be very, very very entertaining in these last few laps, I'm sure of it. Merckx diving for the pits. So Merckx deciding those medium tyres have done enough. Will he now go onto the soft compound? Ryan in DRS once again of Owen in front of him. He's on the inside line. He's going to brake a little bit later in the Alpine. Ooh, he doesn't quite get the traction he would have wanted. And Owen's going to be on the inside for turn 2. They're still side by side through turn 2. And Owen gets the move done. Ryan backs out of it a little bit. MDJ was within a second earlier when he had Merckx, who has now gone onto those soft tyres. When Merckx was there, MDJ though really pushing hard. Can he get within? Can he get DRS now as he crosses that line? Yes, yes he can. So the 4-car train has now become a 6-car train. And we'll keep an eye on the progress of Merckx as he gets on, as Owen gets, well, I was going to say overtaken by Ryan, but he's not giving this one up. He's a lot. Oh, Owen locking the rear brakes. A little snap of oversteer. He needs to cover that line off from Cameron, and he does. Owen nearly losing the back end. He saw the rear of the car step out under the brakes, and it steps out again on traction. Are those soft tyres losing grip? Owen sails off the road onto the marbles. And Owen losing a little bit of time, and not only that, losing 2 spots in the process. Will he bail into the pit lane? Let's watch and see. There he goes. But it has brought MDJ into the fold. And now we have a true reflective picture of the race running order. It's Ryan leading the way, Cameron in second, MDJ in third, Joe just outside of DRS in fourth, Keza fifth, Simon Palmer in sixth place, Ginger Tiger in eighth place behind ARL, Nitro Gash and Martin. Here comes Merckx. He is past Owen, who's gone for the medium tyres. So he didn't have another set of softs available, did Owen? Now let's have a look. Let's have a look at this gap. Merckx is at 16 seconds behind the race leading group, unless there's a safety car or that those soft tyres are incredibly quick. As I say that, Merckx, you can just see in the bottom right of your screen, has just gone purple, the fastest sector of the race so far. Let's see if Merckx can close that gap. It's already down to, well, less than 15 seconds. Well, that's one to watch. Cameron not quite close enough, but he can see the rear diffuser of that Alpine. Can see how it shapes and grips to the circuit. Those Venturi tunnels running underneath the car, sucking the cars down, promoting a sort of ground effect status. But it's still in the lead of the race is Ryan. Can those medium tyres last another 9 laps? That is the question. I say 9 laps. We're about to go on to lap 19. There you go. 9 laps it is. Joe just outside of DRS. It'd be so great for him to get inside it. It's going to be so hard to do, especially with seasoned veterans like Cameron and MDJ. That's a new fastest lap of the race from Merckx on a 36.1 as ARL goes along the outside of Ginger Tiger at turn 2. Ginger Tiger though fighting back. Move recompleted from the Haas driver. He's going to have to try again. Is ARL on those medium tyres. They've done 10 laps now. Merckx though is in the top 10. Let's have a look at this gap again. Oh wow. Last time we watched Merckx, everyone, he was 15 seconds, less than 15 seconds. It's now 11.6. He took 3.5 seconds out of the leading trio. Watch this space. Can he get past the cars in front of him to rejoin that group? That would be some drive. As ARL goes up to 7th place. But Nitro Gas trying to do the same. He pushes ARL out wide. ARL won't be too pleased about it. Oh, it all got a little bit messy. And Merckx is already saying hello to everybody. Merckx going to go around the outside. I've never seen anyone try and do that before, but look at the grip. Merck goes through. Cameron, no, he's going to try and make a move on. Ryan's pitted. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I genuinely believed he was going to try and stay out, but MDJ goes for the lead. And MDJ has got first position. He snatches it away from Cameron whilst all that was going on. The shock I had just then of Ryan going into the pit, I wasn't expecting that. I thought he'd try and make them to the end of the race, but clearly not. So MDJ now leads the race. Cameron in second. Cameron doing everything he can to try and lead the race, but it's just not happening for him at this moment. Then it's Joe, then it's Keza, Simon, Nitro, Mercked, although Mercked is going to try and go around the outside, I think, of Nitro if he gets the chance to. He's done it once, no doubt he'll try it again. He's going to have the traction. He's going to have Nitro weaving left and right, trying to stop him from going through. But Mercked is down the inside. And I can't imagine Nitro's going to be able to do much. And in theory, Mercked should have DRS as well. There it is, wide open. That is a yellow flag. That's one of the Red Bulls. And Nitro can't fight that anymore. And there he stays, demoted into 7th position. The gap between the race leaders and Mercked, 9.2. He's now got 5 seconds to make up to Simon Palmer, who's having a really good race, is Simon so far. Look at the best lap times here. Merck done a 36.1, 2 seconds quicker than Keza and Joe on their fastest laps. And those fastest laps would have been set on hard tyres that were earlier on in the stint. That's a big wiggle from Keza. I'll be careful that he doesn't get punished for another mistake by Simon. But that's a huge amount of time. MDJ showing some really good pace to get involved. He made that leap earlier to get himself within DRS, and you can see the difference. Joe just hasn't been able to manage that. But he's still running in 3rd position. Let's have a look at the penalties. Joe has 3 seconds, as does everybody else, bar Keza with 9 and Sir Spud with 11. I'm assuming 5 seconds of that will have been under the safety car. So 2 other track limit violations for Sir Spud, and that is him in the wall as I say that, and that's a safety car. Oh, now Sir Spud has crashed on the inside of what seems to be turn number 17, and this has just thrown everything wide open. And Ryan will be very frustrated with this. He just put the soft tyres on as well. And I'll tell you something else. Oh, Stephen, I've just noticed, hasn't pitted yet. He'll go to the soft tyres. See how he gets on with them. I'd be very surprised if everyone other than Merckx, Ryan and Atsu, maybe Phantom as well, would not now dive into the pits for softs. This will be a sprint for the remaining part of this race. Well, well, well. Let's see what happens. Does MDJ go into the pit? Yes, easy enough. Cameron does the same. We'll watch everybody else surely pile in. They all are. Now, will Merckx carry on? No, he's going to get a new set of softs on. Everybody going into the pit lane. Not a single person other than I suspect. Well, Owen's going to try it on the medium tyres. Now, let's see. Where is MDJ in the pit lane? They're just coming towards the pit exit now. This is going to be so close in terms of who gets out first. Owen's not quite there. It did work out for Ryan, though. He didn't lose as much time as I thought he was going to. He didn't lose as many places either. He's going to be there for the race victory. And Ryan's main championship rival, Merckx, also got a new set of soft tyres on. So now we reset. Take a moment, take a drink, everyone who's watching. Hopefully it's something cold. Hopefully it's exactly the drink that you need right now to consume these last 6 laps of this race. We have, in theory, we should have another one after this, and then we'll resume racing on lap 24, which means it'll be a 5-lap dash to the end. And this is sprint race part 2 almost. Everyone pretty much on the soft tyres, bar Owen and Atsu, who has come into the pits again as Atsu, but just having a difficult time of it today at number 99. So the safety car leads us around turn number 17. Second time Bernd Mailander has been out in this race so far. For those who've just joined, you are watching Invictus Racing League here for the Realistic Performance League. We have MDJ at the front of the queue. Some good driving from MDJ has seen him move into this first place with a good overtake earlier on. A couple of cars coming into the pits as well. That's Phantom and O'Stephen coming in. So Phantom getting a new set of soft tyres on. Doesn't want to use 6-lap old ones. No front wing change for O'Stephen. And the same for Phantom as well. Atsu back in the pit, so I'm assuming this time he's going to get the soft tyres on. There we are, new set of softs for him. So Owen is, at the moment, Owen will be the only driver to be the equivalent of a yellow streak of paint in a red wall right now. Every other driver deciding to take the fastest option. Now Owen, admittedly, was fighting for places a little bit further down. He's got to hope that the offset in performance between the mediums and the softs at this point in the race isn't too much. Ryan is effectively on the same lap old tyres as everybody else. I know it says he does 3 laps, but he'd only done half a lap before the safety car came out. But he's still in that fight for the podium, and he'll want to try and get past Owen as quickly as he can. But on that note, it's also important to make out that Owen and Cameron, of course, both bottom gear drivers. Owen will want to try and support his teammate to stop Ryan from coming through. But the safety car, enough of the theories. The safety car is coming into the pits this lap. Strap yourselves in, everybody. We've got a frenetic race to the flag. And we'll ride on board with Cameron. And when does he decide to try and bolt along with MDJ, who is weaving left, right and centre to get those tyres up to temperature? Really working the tyres is the Alfa Romeo. Cameron just hanging back a little bit. He wants to get the best run he can. And he goes, does MDJ. Cameron tried to go a little bit earlier, then backed out of it, and then MDJ went. That's a good restart for the Alfa Romeo. They break into the final corner. And they come over the line for the 24th time of asking. MDJ leads the way. He's going to have about 3.5 temps. It should be enough for him going towards turn 1. Then it's Owen, Ryan, Joe Hamston. No one quite close enough apart from these two. It's Keza and Simon Palmer. Merckx, I should say, rather, under pressure is Simon from Merckx. You've got Merckx going to the inside line at turn 2. This is going to be very, very tight between the two gentlemen. Keep it clean, boys. We want to see it nicely done. And Simon Palmer backs out of it. That's good tactical thinking from Simon. He'll do well to make sure he keeps up with that AlphaTauri. Merckx has been flying today. Whether he can make any more positions up, I should say, we will see. But Cameron and MDJ are away already from Owen. That's a second clear. They don't have to worry about DRS. Ryan needs to get on with it if he wants any chance of getting a race win. Let's have a look at Cameron closing the gap. He's in the slipstream of MDJ, as is Ryan. We'll cut to the outside shots. There's a yellow flag out there, but it's Cameron going to the outside line towards turn 12. He keeps the place. Ryan up into third. That's a Very important move. He is into the top 3, and Owen has, I think, made a little mistake, unless he's been tagged. But Owen, sadly, down to 8th place. And now everything I was saying in terms of the theory before has just gone out the window. Ryan looking like he wants to go for a race win. He's been knocking on the door of one this season. We got another yellow flag out there. I think Owen's gone round again, unfortunately. So he's out of the top 10 now. But Cameron and MDJ aren't thick. They don't want to let Ryan anywhere near him. The cars behind, Joe, Keza, they've got time penalties. Merck doesn't. He's another one. Look at that new fastest lap. 1:35.725. And it is from Merck as well. I only just spotted that. But MDJ driving an excellent race. Cameron driving an excellent race. He's just not been at the front at any point realistically this far, but who cares if he leads the race on the final lap and wins it? Doesn't matter. He's just got to be in the right place at the right time. Ryan's there, then it's Joe, then it's Keza, then it's Merck, then it's Simon Palmer, then there's a bit of a gap back to SFR Martin, Ginger Tiger and Nitro. Phantom ARL Atsu's made a few spaces up, and Owen unfortunately into the pits. He's going to try and go for fastest lap, I reckon. Lap 25. 3 more after this one. DRS still not enabled, of course. Doesn't activate until 3 laps after, or the 3rd lap after, the safety car has gone into the pits. Here comes Cameron, and here comes Joe. Cameron not making a move. Joe does, though. He's in 3rd place. Ryan down to 4th, but don't forget, Joe has a time penalty. Ryan won't want to fight too much. If Joe can close the gap at the front, couple of corrections to the steering input there for Ryan. Just about managed to gather all that together. But Cameron is sticking to MDJ like glue. Right in the wheel tracks of the Alfa Romeo. DRS will be active on this lap as we go on to it. And Joe almost within DRS here. He is really pushing hard. He wants to get into that little time. But in fact, he's put a second on Ryan. That's a really gutsy final sector from Joe there. But he just needs that extra tenth. If he doesn't get it, he might not be able to unless the 2 cars in front of him fight really hard. But for his own sake, Joe will also want to make sure that he secures a podium if he can, because Ryan's going to have the pressure of Merck, Keza and Simon Palmer behind him. And Cameron is not quite close enough at the moment. This is where your energy recovery system is very important in these last few laps, everyone. You've got to try and keep some of your battery remaining so that you can attack and defend. Speaking of attacking and defending, that is Keza. Here we go then. Merck and Keza are going to breeze past the Alpine. Both of them have DRS. What about Merck? Can he try and look at the inside of Keza? He can. They're going to go wheel to wheel into the corner. That's a time penalty for Joe. That's going to ruin his podium chances. Merck and Keza, though, really pushing and leaning on one another. They bang wheels through turn 15, and that's the door shut firmly on Merck, who dives it back up the inside at turn the next subsequent turn. That is brilliant from Merck. I may be waxing lyrical about Merck, but I've got to say this has been a really impressive drive. Anyone who comes from the back of the field to be fighting for what is currently a podium gets a lot of praise in my opinion. But these two on the penultimate lap now, this comes down to a question of race management. Do you want to be trying to defend on the final lap if you're in the lead of the race, or do you want to be the one who's hunting? It comes down to driver preference. Cameron, though, can see over these last few laps where MDJ has been a little bit weaker, where he might have been a little bit stronger. Who knows? But Cameron will know that, and he's really close behind. This is the closest he's been so far to this Alfa Romeo. He needs a good exit. Owen getting that fastest lap, as I rightly predicted before. Ooh, a little wiggle on exit. He's very close, is Cameron, though. DRS is wide open. The Alpha Tauri is going to go on through to the lead of the race. They're side by side, as is Joe Hamster and Merck in the background, and that's Cameron in the lead of the race. It's Merck up into 3rd. It's also Ryan fending off Keza for 5th place. It's all kicking off on this last 2 laps, just like it did in Spain last week. This race remains finely poised, and MDJ is at the centre of trying to get that race victory once again. And Simon goes up into 6th place. He gets past Keza. Martin trying to look at a potential opportunity. That's Phantom and Atsu and ARL fighting hard for the last spot inside the top 10. But Cameron, this is the final lap. He's 4/10 clear of MDJ. He's got DRS. Doesn't want to use it. That chance to go up the inside. He's got to try and stick with the AlphaTauri now. Excuse me, apologies. Merck there. He's got a clear of Joe Hamster. This is the fight we're going to watch. It's MDJ versus Cameron. This is the shootout. It's the final lap. They'll get one chance at it to take this race victory. Cameron hunting for that victory that he's been desperately looking for. MDJ trying to find his first of the season. Oh, but was that a little bit deep? The ERS, the batteries will be going now. Cameron is half a second clear. DRS wide open. Both drivers using the battery. You can see how quickly MDJ is catching the Cameron. Who's going to get this? Going to go to the outside line. MDJ goes to the outside. This side by side at turn 12. They lean on each other. MDJ goes over the gravel track, and that might just be it. That might just have settled it. There's still going to be one more potential cheeky opportunity for MDJ, but it depends on whether he gets close enough to Cameron. But that might just be it. Cameron might be home scot-free. The gap's growing ever more. And Cameron's got one more corner to navigate. I don't think MDJ is close enough. They're going to round the final corner. It's Cameron Searle who wins here in the feature race for America. It's MDJ second. It's Merckx in third. It will be Ryan in 4th place. Simon Palmer in 5th. SFR Martin getting a good result in the end in 6th. Joe falls to 7th. Ginger Tiger in 8th. Keza 9th. Make that 10th because Atsu gets 9th. Keza, ARL, Nitro, Phantom, and O'Stephen and Owen with the fastest lap as O'Stephen and Phantom swap the places around. Whew. That was exceptional racing from the drivers. That was wonderful to watch. 50 minutes of pure, unfiltered racecraft on display, showing you how good Invictus Racing League drivers are. Cameron celebrating, I'm not surprised at all. Merckx getting driver of the day. I mean, he's definitely a contender. I think Cameron deserves it as well. He was just in the right place at the right time. He might not have led up until those last laps, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and well done to him. There he is, celebrating on the top step of the podium. There he is, shaking the hand of the FIA's podium giver there. And we will have a chat with a couple of the drivers shortly. But that's the celebrations for everyone. What a race we have just witnessed. Excellent to see. So let us have a look at the classified race results. You've got Cameron taking the race victory. You have MDJ in 2nd place. You have Merckx rounding out the podium. So that has been a good set of results for those three. Ryan as well coming back to 4th place. You've got Simon Palmer 5th, Martin and Joe 6th and 7th respectively, with Ginger Tiger, Atsu and Keza rounding out the top 10, penalties afflicting Keza in the end. ARL, Nitro Gash and FRL Stephen 11th, 12th and 13th, with Phantom and Owen being the last classified finisher. And don't forget Spud earlier crashing out, causing that 2nd safety car. So we do have drivers who will be joining, hopefully shortly. I know that Cameron has joined us. I'm also going to ask Joe Hamster to join in, if he can. I know that the other drivers, I believe, are on PC, so I don't think we'll be able to invite them in, unfortunately, I don't believe. MDJ. Oh, good news. We have got MDJ in as well, so we'll have a chat with Cameron, with MDJ. I'm not sure about Mercked. And well, hopefully, Joe has just asked, to be honest with you, whether it's worth him joining because he finished 6th. But he did win the sprint, and I want to give him his time in the sun at least. But we'll start the interviews. We'll have a chat with our race winner, which is Cameron. It's been a long. It's been. I'm surprised that it's took a couple of races for you to get a race win, Cameron. But that was fantastic to watch. Those last few laps were excellent. How was it for you?
Oh, firstly, check. Yeah,
oh
no,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was brilliant. MTJ, thank you for that. I love those last few laps. Yeah.
How was it? How were you feeling? Because obviously the safety car came in and completely changed the dynamic of the race. But how were you feeling about before the safety car came out? Were you worried about the other drivers who'd pitted for softs and mediums before that point?
I wasn't worried about them. No, I think it was still all between me and MTJ.
Yeah.
Either way, it was actually kind of handy when the safety car came out. Owen and Ryan, both sort of, I think they stayed out. Then they were sort of caused a buffer on that restart. So it was just between the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great result for you. It's a great result for Bottom Gear as well. Of course, Owen was unfortunate in terms of finishing down 14. He did get the fastest lap to add to that at least. But 4 races in, championship's table starting to shape up a little bit. I'm not going to ask you if you think you're going to win the championship or anything like that. That's too early to ask you about. But we will be going to Imola next week for round 5. What's that like as a circuit for you, Cameron? Are you a fan of it, or are you less keen?
Well, I actually prefer it to COTA, but it's hit or miss. Obviously, winning this one will put me at the back. So, yeah, I prefer the track, but it's going to be harder to get through the field.
Do you have faith in your ability to get past in a tight and twisty track like that?
It'll probably have to be with strategy, I'm afraid.
Well, in any case, I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on with that. But, if Merck can come from 16th, I'm sure that you can probably put a performance in yourself. But congratulations on the race victory today, Cameron. Well deserved. Great fighting with you and yourself and MDJ. Looking forward to next week. So thanks very much. Okay, we're going to go over to MDJ in a moment's time. Hopefully, if you are on the PlayStation, I'm not sure actually, MDJ, if you are PlayStation or PC, but just make sure your voice settings are shared. You put in a really good drive today, MDJ. I was really impressed with some of the moves that you were making, and I felt that you just got yourself into the leading gap for the race victory at the right moment. But tell me how the race was from your perspective.
Yeah. In the sprint, it was starting really well, but because of some traction issues that I had with the rear, I balled it and spun and didn't help. And after I just DNF'd, which made me start pretty much lost, second to last. And then from there, I tried to stay out of all the incidents, wait until the right moment, until there is a gap to make a move. And that's exactly what I did to every driver that I overtook. And from there, I went to the front, and without me noticing, I was racing for the win. And it was until just before the safety car that I realized I was in P3 at the moment, and I was like, oh, well, that's great. So yeah, there could have definitely been more. In the end, the last lap, I had a loose rear end, which made the win for Cameron sealed. But yeah, that was fun on the last few laps.
Did you? I mean, obviously, second place is a fantastic result. I know you'll be a bit frustrated that you couldn't snatch that victory. But is there anything you think you could have done differently, or are you just thinking in the moment that was the right thing to do and it just didn't work out? Better luck next time.
At the moment, this was the best strategy. If I was starting on the hards, I would have been forced to go into the mediums on the first safety car, which is not my kind of style to stretch those to the end.
Yeah.
So it's the best to start on mediums and then go into the arts.
Fair enough. My last question for you then is, because obviously it's been I don't think we've had the opportunity to have a chat this season, if I don't recall correctly. But what is your target for this season? You know, I've asked this to a couple of other drivers already who are fighting for championship, and you know, you seem like you've got the ability to do that, but what is your plan? Are you aiming for the championship, or are you just thinking get a race win and see how it goes?
I mean, at the moment, I have joined the season later than the rest.
That is true.
So thinking about the championship it's a long way. I think I will be happy to just score a P4 in the championship at the end.
Okay, good stuff. I tell you what, I did say I had one last question, but I've got another one, and it's the same question I've got for you that I've just given to Cameron. In terms of, you were making those opportunistic overtaking manoeuvres today. How do you rate your chances at Imola from the back of the grid on the sprint race?
Imola, the chances are not that high. I would say. Imola is not one of my favorite tracks as of Monza, so I would either stay at the back of the grid or get caught up in the midfield. Other than that, I'm not expecting much of Imola.
Well, in any case, what I will say is, for today, congratulations on the podium. Really good result for you, and hopefully I'll be able to have a chat again with you soon.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Right, we're going to go over to our sprint race winner. I know that Joe wasn't expecting it, but I thought, Joe, you might as well have your time to shine in the sun. Tell us about the sprint. How good was that? If you can hear me.
Yeah, the sprint was good. Me and ARL made sure, obviously we were teammates, made sure we got a nice restart, pulled a second gap to the cars behind, and then I had more pace. He let me through, and kind of everyone battling behind just worked in my favour, really.
I mean, for yourself, Joe, obviously, you know, it's good to see you fighting up there in terms of near the front and getting those little race victories in the sprints where you can. How did the feature race go from your perspective? How did it go? Because it just seemed to be, it almost nearly worked out for you to join that lead group, but something just didn't seem quite there towards the end of the race.
The tier 1 guys are just aliens, to be honest. No, I got caught up in a couple of little bits, and when you're trying your hardest to just get on the end of a DRS train, you know, sort of 4 or 5 temps, battling with someone you don't really want to, or getting caught up in little bits, while it doesn't really affect your race too much, you'd lose that front pack, and then they just run off with it.
Yeah, I think I did mention that on the stream in terms of, I think at one point you were within maybe a tenth and a half or 2 tenths, and I just said it's so important, and it just didn't get any closer than that, unfortunately. But I'll ask you the same question that I asked MDJ, you know, in terms of the championship, in terms of, or rather the plans in terms of how you're going to approach the rest of the season? What's your aim for this season? What are you hoping for?
I don't know. RP sort of it's a bit of a different one. I think really my focus is on Tier 2 this season, so
yeah,
it's just a nice bit of practice, I guess, for racing. But I think Tier 2 is where the championship I'm going to be focusing on this season.
Well, that makes complete sense. I can understand that. I know how competitive that league is at the moment. But one last question for you before I finish off for this evening's wonderful events. Imola, is it a track you like? Are you a fan of it?
Doesn't matter, I'm not going to be here.
Well, I wish you'd have said.
Because it is a track I really like, so I'm gutted I'm missing it, to be honest, mate.
That is a shame. Well, hopefully we'll see you back racing, I would assume, the week after the break week?
Yeah, I'm away next week, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully, in terms of the racing that goes on in the pack next week at Imola, will be a little bit less quieter without you, shall we say? But well done on the sprint win, anyway. Great work, great result.
I'm hoping it's Tier 3 that's going to be a bit quieter, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose out too much. But yeah, thanks, mate. It was good fun.
Thank you, Joe. Well, that is it, everyone, for this evening. It has been a wonderfully bombastic set of races, we shall call it. Lots of action throughout the field, and my voice has almost gone. But for this week and this evening, of course, that is it for the events for Formula 1 and Invictus Racing League. Next week, of course, Tier 4 and 3 will kick off the action once again on Monday with the round 5 of the season at Imola. Of course, next Thursday, 8 o'clock British Standard Time, you will see Invictus Racing League's realistic performance going around the same circuit. And whether we'll have any more drama and frenetic racing, I'm sure we will. This is the realistic Performance League, of course. One quick final thank you to gridfinder.com and for Venturi Studio partnering with us for this season. It's been fantastic, of course, to have them on board. Really wonderful to have them alongside us for promoting this season. But in case of this evening, I've been Jack TM53, your commentator for the Realistic Performance League. And wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you next week.